Hello, what's up, YouTube? Dawson here. Going on Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Western Conference Final between Edmonton and Dallas. Yeah, just some quick stats. For Edmonton, Leon Draisaitl is leading the Oilers with 7 goals. Mikko Rantanen is leading Dallas with 9 goals. Connor McDavid is leading Edmonton with 19 assists. Mikko Rantanen for Dallas is leading with 12 assists. And we're just waiting for the game to start here. We'll have to wait. We'll just have to wait here. Zach Hyman is out for surgery. I'll start a poll here for who will win. And I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you haven't yet, please click that subscribe button. That'll help out a lot. Hi, Gogs. All right. Poll started. Just waiting for the game to start here. I'll go through stats again. Connor McDavid is leading all of the NHL playoffs in points with 24. Sam Bennett for the Florida Panthers is leading the NHL in goals with 10. Connor McDavid, again for Edmonton, is leading all players with assists with 19. And the Rat Pack, known as Florida, has advanced into the Stanley Cup Finals last night. Got over the Carolina Hurricanes 4-1 in the series. That's unfortunate. Wanted to see Carolina in the Cup final. And repping my Edmonton Oilers Wayne Gretzky jersey. So we'll see how Edmonton does tonight. Hoping for them to close out the series. And hopefully we get a rematch of last year. That'll be fun to see. And hopefully next year for my Maple Leafs, hopefully they can get past the second round. That'll be fun if they actually get past the second round. It'll be interesting to see. And just gonna try and pull up more stats. And Matthew Tkachuk leads the NHL playoffs with 3 power play goals. And it's a big tie for first between 8 players for shorthanded goals with 1. Not gonna list off all the names, but among the leaders is William Karlsson for Vegas, Riley Smith also for Vegas, Logan O'Connor for Colorado, and that's on doing for shorthanded goals. Stuart Skinner leads goalies in the NHL playoffs with 3 shutouts, tied with Sergei Bobrovsky, who also has 3 shutouts. I can't wait to get this game started. Stay tuned for Old Canada and the Star-Spangled Banner. And Sean, Ray, and Evans will see the intermission. Game time is next. And Matthias Ekholm could return from injury tonight. We'll have to see how he's doing. I'm trying to see from other news around the league. Yeah, Marner's return to the Maple Leafs is unclear.
At Ace, however you grill, we've got the perfect one for you. Because only your local Ace has all the best brands in one place, like Weber, Big Green Egg, Traeger,
and I'd say the key to winning this game for Edmonton is to continue on the power play, doing great, and keep killing off penalties. And just getting good chances in front of Dallas's net. Definitely try and get more shots on goal. And definitely try and have good defense. Defense is key in winning games in the playoffs. Yeah, definitely having a good defense is key to getting far in these playoffs.
Men tell us when they use Just for Men to eliminate gray, there's a great before and after. Then there's the
definitely have to see who will win tonight's game.
Stream, scroll, and connect.
Welcome in. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. It'll greatly help me if you could please subscribe if you haven't yet. I'll quickly go through leaders and points, assists, and goals again. Connor McDavid for Edmonton has 24 points. Sam Bennett for the Florida Panthers has 10 goals. And Connor McDavid leads the NHL playoffs with 19 assists. And this is a do or die game for Dallas, because this is possibly an elimination game as Edmonton gears up in Dallas, Texas. And Edmonton has definitely been taking over this series as of late in this series. And if you remember back to my last stream between Edmonton and Dallas, I wanted Connor McDavid to get a goal. He ended up getting 2, nearly got the hat trick. And I do want my Connor McDavid to get his goals. And hopefully can lead Edmonton to Stanley Cup. So that'll be exciting if Connor McDavid could at least get a point in tonight's game. And well, yeah, I think it's like Zach Hyman who's coming back, maybe. And I think Zach Hyman could be coming back. Or wait, who was it that I saw was going to come back? Yeah. Oh, wait, yeah. Zach Hyman's out for the surgery. Who was it that I said was coming back? Oh, yeah, it was Ekholm. Ekholm could be back for tonight's game. So, yeah, Matthias Ekholm's coming back. So, yeah. We'll have to see what Connor McDavid can do tonight. And can't wait for a good game between Edmonton and Dallas. So we can get good Stanley Cup Finals matchup between Florida and Edmonton, or the winner of this series. His first appearance of the series for Dallas. And it's Jeff Skinner who gets his first opportunity in the Western Conference. Tonight should be an exciting night.
OMG, they must think we're so dumb that we'll just fly into that bug zapper and die. Lol.
And trying to get to 100 subscribers on the channel before the end of the year. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It'll greatly help the channel out and allow me to do more streams like this. And hopefully we get to do some good streams for the Stanley Cup Finals here before too long. So if you haven't yet, please click that subscribe button. Also click the like button so word gets around of the stream. Also, we have a poll up for who you think will win tonight's game between the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers. So if you want to check that out, go on over to the chat and check it out. I'll quickly go through the leaders again in terms of points, goals, and assists. One last time before the game starts. Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers leads the NHL playoffs with 24 points. Sam Bennett leads the NHL playoffs with 10 goals. And Connor McDavid leads the NHL playoffs in terms of assists with 19. So we have a great matchup tonight between Dallas and Edmonton in Dallas for Game 5. We should have a good matchup today. It should be underway here pretty soon. So, anthems should be coming up shortly. And one last reminder before the game starts, if you haven't yet, please go down and subscribe before I get to 100 subscribers on the year. I'd like to hit that milestone here before the end of the year. So please subscribe if you haven't yet. And anthems should be starting shortly. And the last game that I streamed, which I believe was Game 3, that was a physical game for sure. Lots of hits for both teams. My boy Connor McDavid recorded 2 goals. I believe so did Zach Hyman, if I remember correctly. In the 6-1 victory of Game 3. And let's see who's starting in net for both Edmonton and Dallas. I believe Ottinger will be in net for Dallas, and Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner is in net for the Edmonton Oilers. And Jake Ottinger is starting for Dallas. So we'll have a good old goalie duel And assuming Dallas doesn't let up 6 goals like they did in Game 3. But I also kind of want my Edmonton Oilers to win and move on to the Stanley Cup the Stanley Cup Finals. Excuse me. So yeah, it'd be a good rematch for last year, and I definitely like to see a Canadian team finally win the cup this year. And it's been 32 or yeah, I think it's 32 years since a Canadian team has last won the cup. So hopefully a Canadian team finally wins the cup this year with Edmonton in the finals, hopefully, after tonight. Don't want to jinx it and have Dallas get back to the cup finals for the first time since 2020. And here are the anthems.
Our Sports Radio 96.7 1310 The Ticket and City Credit Union, hometown hero of the game.
We're doing anthems.
Martin Fuente. And now to sing the anthems of two great nations, our own Selena Ray.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, let all of us command. With glowing hearts we see, rise a true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Good to start with the Canadian anthem.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets through the land, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, sailors and star-spangled banner yet wave. For the land of the free and the
All right. Good start with the anthems. And we're doing Game 5 of the Western Conference Final between the Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers. And Edmonton has taken a commanding 3-1 lead in the series so far. And Jake Ottinger will be the starting goaltender for the Dallas Stars. Stuart Skinner will start in goal for the Edmonton Oilers. And we're getting ready here for the opening face-off. Face-off won by Dallas, I believe, here. And Dallas in the neutral zone. Edmonton now behind their net. Here comes Edmonton through their neutral zone. Armonov lost the puck. And here's Edmonton back in their zone. Here comes Nurse. Passes it up to Armonov. Sorry, I can't pronounce names. But sends it around the boards. Here's Dallas coming now with a shot, which deflects wide. Dallas fighting, and here's Edmonton in neutral zone here, sending it behind their net, sending it behind once again. Here comes Edmonton out of their zone into the neutral zone. Here comes Edmonton pushing it into Dallas territory. Dallas picks it up now. And here comes Dallas. Oh, big hit along the boards. Here comes Edmonton here. Taken away by Dallas. Here's Edmonton. Here's Bouchard in his own zone. Passing it up along the boards. Here's Edmonton sending it into Dallas' zone. Here's Dallas, who picked it up along the boards. Offsides. Or is it a penalty? I think it's a penalty. High sticking. With 18 minutes, 13 seconds left in the first period, we have our first penalty of the game. Yeah, I think number 22 for Dallas. I think Mr. Bork, not to be confused with Pork, has the first penalty of the game. And we have a poll in the chat for who you think will win, so you can go vote on that. Here's Edmonton on the face-off. Here's McDavid in the corner. Sends it around for Draisaitl, who sends it back up the boards for Bouchard. Here's McDavid. Pass to Bouchard, Draisaitl with a shot sent wide. And puck is sent out of Edmonton's zone. 1.5 minutes left to go in the high sticking penalty. Here comes McDavid with speed into Dallas' zone. Spins it around for his partner Draisaitl. Here's McDavid. Scores. Power play goal for Edmonton. Unclear who got the goal, but it's a goal for Edmonton. I think it might be Corey Perry on the goal. With 17.5 minutes left to go in the first period, we have our first goal on the power play. That's a good start for Edmonton. Oh, it went glove side and bounced in. Here's Dallas. And Edmonton's on. Edmonton takes that away. Dallas takes it away. Dallas sends it into Edmonton's zone. They're fighting along the boards for the puck and squirts out. And here's Edmonton now. Oh, here's a mini chance and tried to center, but saved by Andre. Puck was sent out of the offensive zone. Here's Edmonton behind their net. Here's Edmonton now at center ice. Sends it in. And puck squirts out to center ice and back into Edmonton zone. And puck sent deep into Dallas' zone. A big hit behind Dallas' net. Here's Dallas sending it into Edmonton's offensive zone. Sending it around. Here's Edmonton. Dallas with the puck now and at center ice. Dallas sends it in. Here's Edmonton along the boards now. Bouchard with the puck. Carries it in. Gets it taken away. Here comes Dallas. Taken away by Edmonton. I believe Bouchard took that away. Here's Bouchard with a pass. Beautiful, good chance, but Dallas keeps the puck out of the back of the net. Here's Edmonton. Shot blocked in front. Here's Dallas behind their net. Dallas passing it up to center ice. Johnston with it. Shot saved by Stuart Skinner. It's been great this series. Yeah, it's kind of strange with Stuart Skinner. Yeah, sometimes he doesn't have the greatest of games. Yeah, but some nights that switch kind of flips and he has like an incredible game. And welcome into everyone. And face off won by Edmonton. Here's Perry flipping it out to center ice. Here's Dallas sending it into Edmonton's offensive zone. Here's Edmonton behind the net. Edmonton now carrying it through center ice. Offsides the call. We'll get another face-off here at center ice. And if you haven't yet, please click that subscribe button. I'm trying to get 100 goals not 100 goals, sorry. 100 subscribers, by the end of the year. Setting a nice little goal for myself. I'm quarter of the way there so far. And Dallas sends it around the boards. Here's Edmonton sending it back into the offensive zone. Here's Edmonton in the corner. Here's Edmonton along the opposite boards. Scrum along the boards for the puck. Here's Dallas trying to get it out of the defensive zone, but Edmonton sends it back in. Here's Dallas getting the puck out the center ice. Here's Dallas in the offensive zone. Shot blocked in front. Another shot saved by Stuart Skinner. Yeah, Stuart Skinner's just been a beast in goal for Edmonton. And Edmonton is up 1-0 so far in Game 5 of the, I believe, Eastern Conference Final. Sorry, Western Conference Final. Yeah, the Eastern Conference Final finished up last night. with Florida advancing to the Stanley Cup Final for third time in a row. Looking to get their second straight Stanley Cup. We're still waiting on Game 5 here, which Edmonton currently leads 1-0 here. And we have a poll going in the live chat. So if you go check that out, it'll ask who will win between Edmonton and Dallas. So you can go check that out. You can converse with the other chat members. And again, I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. So please subscribe so I can get to that milestone. It'll greatly help out the channel. And the goal was scored by Corey Perry 2.5 minutes into the first period here. Assisted by Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on the power play. Face-off won by Dallas with a quick shot. Turned away by Stuart Skinner. Edmonton takes the puck through center ice. Here comes Draisaitl. Had that puck taken away from him. Here comes Dallas, trying to get it out of their defensive zone. Edmonton now in the neutral zone. Sends it into the opposite corner. Here's Dallas, putting it into the neutral zone. But here comes Edmonton, specifically Draisaitl, tried to center it. And that didn't get a stick in front. Here's Dallas cleared the zone. Here's Edmonton now in their offensive zone. Shot scores! Janmark with the second goal of the game. Already up 2-0. With 12:51 left in the first period here. Edmonton taking a commanding 2-0 lead after a beautiful stretch play and on the breakaway. Janmark between the legs of Jake Ottinger. What a goal. Let's go Edmonton. Looking to get to Stanley Cup Finals for second time in a row. Matthias Janmark on the goal. Assisted by Artvinson. Sorry, I'm horrible with names. And Wallman with the secondary assist. With 12 minutes, 51 seconds left in the first period, Edmonton is up 2-0. And Casey DeSmith is getting put in between the pipes here. Here's Dallas off the face-off. Edmonton takes it away. Sends it into the zone. Scrum along the boards for the puck. Here comes Dallas, flips it out of the offensive zone, and Edmonton sends it back in. Whistle blows here. Must be offsides. I'm surprised to see DeSmith in goal for Dallas. Just over Yeah, 8 minutes. Yeah, actually just under 8 minutes to go. Yeah, left in the first period. Don't think DeSmith even got a warm up here before he got thrown in. Here's Edmonton after the face-off shot. DeSmith stops that. Dallas sends it into Edmonton zone. Edmonton now in the neutral zone. Sends it into Dallas's zone. And Dallas tries to take it out of their zone, but Edmonton quickly puts it back in. Here's Edmonton tried to center. It's a mess in front of the net. And another goal? Jeff Skinner. Jeez. Just over 8 minutes left. Just over 8 minutes gone in the game. And it's already 3-0 Edmonton. Yeah, it's chaos in front of the net. And it apparently goes through the legs of DeSmith. Yeah, it goes through the legs of Casey DeSmith. Oh, that was sneaky. It's already 3-0. It's a little over 8 minutes gone in this game. Jeez. Not a great start if you're the Dallas Stars. Yeah, let's see who assisted on that goal. Yeah, Jeff Skinner got the goal. Henrique on the assist, along with Frederick. After the face-off, Edmonton sends it into the offensive zone here. Dallas tries to send it out of the zone, but it gets caught in the netting or in the crowd. Yeah, what a start for Edmonton. 3 goals on 6 shots. That's impressive. Yeah, Dallas only has 2 shots. Dallas wins the face-off here. Here comes Dallas. Sends it out of their zone, but Edmonton sends it back in almost. But here's Dallas. Taken away here by Edmonton. Sends it into the offensive zone, but Dallas quickly retrieves the puck. Dallas sends it into the offensive zone. Here's Edmonton sending it up along the boards through center ice. Edmonton dumps it in. Here's Edmonton behind the net. Oh, that was a great chance. Sends it just wide. Here's Bouchard. Directed it towards the net. Here's Bouchard again. Passes it up. In the corner now, Edmonton. And taken away by Dallas. Here's Dallas at center. Taken away by Edmonton, but Dallas quickly gets it back and sends it in to the netting. Yeah, Jeff Skinner made it 3-0 for Edmonton. His first career playoff goal, fun fact. Yeah, he's been in the NHL for quite some time, but this is his first time, I believe, in the playoffs, and gets his first career playoff goal. Here's Edmonton, who won the face-off. Perry sends it in. Here's Dallas behind their net. Here's a scrum along the boards for the puck. Here's McDavid's shot. Saved by DeSmith. And DeSmith came in for Ottinger like 8 minutes, 7-8 minutes in the game. Yeah, that not a great start if you're the Dallas Stars. Here's a face-off in Dallas's zone. Won by Dallas. Here's Star taken down, no penalty. Here's Edmonton now in their zone. Looking to get a breakout going. Edmonton sends it into their offensive zone. Fight on the board. Yeah. Dallas sends it down the ice for icing. What an impressive start to this game. 9:41 left here in the first period. Edmonton leads 3-0. Yeah, 3 goals on 7 shots. That's just insane. Still waiting for McDavid to get that goal, though. A face-off one here by Dallas. Dallas looking to clear the puck out, and they successfully do. Here's a shot saved by Stuart Skinner. Here's Edmonton now, sending it into the offensive zone, directed towards Smith, and he tucked that out of the way, and here comes Dallas now with a shot, saved by Skinner. Here's Edmonton now, trying to clear it out of their zone. Lance behind the Dallas Star, who went to get the puck. Here's Dallas in Edmonton's zone. In the corner now. Here's Dallas behind the net. Here's Dallas at the blue line shot. Blocked. Another shot's blocked. And here comes Edmonton. Dallas takes that away, and Edmonton pokes that away, and offside appears to be the call. Yeah, 3 goals on like 8 or 9 shots for Edmonton. Yeah. 3 goals on 8 shots with, 8.5 minutes here to go in the opening period. Your goal scorers so far are Corey Perry, assisted by McDavid and Draisaitl. Janmark, assisted by Arvidsson and Wallman. And Jeff Skinner, his first playoff goal, assisted by Henrique and Frederick. Yeah, only 11.5 minutes, into Game 5 of the Western Conference Final. Welcome into all new viewers. If you haven't yet, please click that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm quarter of the way there. And invite all you who want to invite to this stream. We're all focused about having a good experience here. So if you have a friend who's interested in hockey and wants to follow along to this series and the rest of the playoffs, I'm happy if you invite more people here. And as I said a little bit ago, we're focused on having a good experience here. Here's Edmonton in their zone. Here's Dallas with a shot, and they score! Jason Robertson. Dallas is now on the board. Yeah, 3-1. With 8 minutes, 20 seconds left to go in this opening period. First shot that's beaten Skinner. Hi, Henry and Uncle Phil. Yeah, that might have bounced off the post and bounced off Skinner. Jason Robertson on the board. Here's Dallas now in their own zone after the face-off after Jason Robertson made it 3-1. Here's Edmonton in their own zone. Rantanen deflects the puck back in or deeper into the zone with his skate and shot saved by Skinner. Here's the scrum along the boards for the loose puck. Edmonton flips that back out to center ice. Here's Dallas trying to flip it into Edmonton's offensive zone. Here's Edmonton behind their net. Here's Edmonton now trying to send it into Dallas's zone. Offside for Dallas. Now we'll get a face off here. Just outside Edmonton's zone. Yeah, it's 3-1 in Game 5 of the Western Conference Final. Yeah, after Robertson gets the goal. And we got a fun little poll here asking who will win between Dallas and Edmonton tonight. So if you would want to get that finished, and after a face-off, we have another penalty for high sticking here. Number 18, so Steele with the high stick. Oh, yeah, there's the high stick. Good call there by the referees. Edmonton will go on the power play again here for the second time in this game. They already have one power play goal, going 1-for-1. So, yeah, looking to go 2-for-2 here on the power play. Here comes Edmonton on the face-off. Dallas clears it. Here's Dallas shorthanded. I don't know what Dallas is doing here, but it's back in Dallas' zone and clears it down the ice. Here's Bouchard behind his net. Here's McDavid with speed entering the offensive zone. Here's Draisaitl over to Nugent Hopkins. Back to Bouchard. Here's Connor McDavid. McDavid with a shot. Goes wide here, and puck goes out into center ice and into Edmonton's zone. Here's McDavid getting some speed. Offside as McDavid goes over the blue line before the puck does. Go Zebras, yeah. Yeah. Let's go Zebras. AKA the refs. And we'll get a face-off. Won by Dallas. Dallas behind their net tries to clear it, which they get it out of their zone. Here's Wallman now for Klingberg, who sends it into their zone, to the offensive zone. Here's Dallas trying to clear it again. They get it out of their zone in a mini 2-on-1. Foreman, shorthanded for Dallas. The shot saved by Stuart Skinner, shorthanded for. And here's Klingberg. 20 seconds left to go in the Edmonton power play. Here's Wallman for Skinner. Wallman again. Over for Vander Kane. Oh, centered in front, but Dallas clears the zone, and that will end the power play. And we're back to even strength. Edmonton is now 1 for 2 on the power plays so far. Here's Edmonton. Nearly had that taken away. Edmonton still looking to get it out of their their defensive zone, and they do. Here's Draisaitl. Kulak with a shot. Tried to get a deflection. Here's Dallas. Gets to neutral ice and dumps it in. Here's Stuart Skinner. Sends it back around the boards. Gets it out the center ice. Here's Dallas, who sends it back into their offensive zone. Here's Edmonton getting it out of their defensive zone. Here's Dallas getting it out the center ice before Edmonton sends it back in. Big hit along the boards. Oh my. Lots of cross checks. That was a massive hit. In the corner. Here's Edmonton along the boards. Scrum for the puck. Yeah, that was a massive hit. And here's Dallas. Yeah, another big hit in Dallas's zone. Here comes Edmonton after Dallas sends it down the ice. Here comes Edmonton. Icing is the call, as we'll go back into Edmonton's zone. Yeah, that was a big hit down in Dallas's corner. Yeah, and scores 3-1 Edmonton. I'll quickly try and go through goal scorers. Corey Perry on the power play. Janmark and Jeff Skinner, his first of the playoffs. And Jason Robertson with the most recent goal for Dallas Stars to make it 3-1. Here's Edmonton in their offensive zone. Someone trips up in the neutral zone. Here's Corey Perry. Drops it off. Here's Dallas now, who clears it out of their zone. Edmonton gets it back. Klingberg. Here's Edmonton sending it into Dallas's zone. Here's Dallas along the boards. Rantanen trying to get the puck in the corner. Edmonton now from behind their net. Dallas takes it away in tripping call. That should have been called, I think. That should have been called. Here's Dallas now in their zone. Here's Dallas along the boards. Referee got in the way. Here's Edmonton after a shot was saved by Stuart Skinner. Here's Dallas in their zone. Here, Dallas sends it in for icing as no one touched it after it crossed the red line. Yeah, it's 3-1 Edmonton. Yeah, and Marshall absolutely crushes Arvidsson in the corner a couple minutes ago. Here's the face-off in Dallas's zone. Here's Dallas, taken away by Edmonton. Here's Dallas again. Shot blocked in front. Here's Edmonton now, trying to bring it into their offensive zone. Here's Dallas, who's getting it out of their zone. Here's Dallas now in the offensive zone. Pass is redirected out through center and back into Dallas's zone. Here's Edmonton trying to take the puck away, but Dallas sends it into Edmonton's zone. Here's Edmonton in center. Dallas with the puck now. Sends it into their offensive zone. Edmonton trying to get the puck out of their zone. Dallas sends it back. Here's Edmonton trying to clear. Edmonton sends it into Dallas's zone. Here's Dallas. 30 seconds to go in this period. Dallas behind the net. Here's Edmonton behind their net. 10 seconds to go. Here's Corey Perry. And behind the net, that'll be the end of this first period. Yeah, what a wild first period. Yeah, Edmonton gets 2 quick goals and goes up 2 or 3-0 before Dallas decides to take out Ottinger and replace him with Casey DeSmith, who's been incredible so far. And let's get around through on the goal scorers here. Corey Perry with the opening goal on the power play, assisted by Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Then Matthias Janmark, assisted by Arvidsson and Wallman. And then Jeff Skinner, his first playoff goal, assisted by Henrique and Frederick. And then Jason Robertson for Dallas, assisted by Johnston. What an opening period of the Western Conference Final, Game 5. Yeah, that was quite a period. Yeah, big hits, refs nearly getting involved in the action. And lots of goals. Edmonton is leading in shots 9-7. Yeah, face-offs are pretty equal. Yeah, Edmonton is 1 for 2 on the power play so far. Yeah, Edmonton is leading in hits with 16 hits, and Dallas has 11 hits. Edmonton is also leading in blocked shots with 5, and Dallas only having 1. What a period. Yeah, only two penalties in this first period. Both going to Dallas for high sticking for both of them. Yeah, that's not really how you want to start your elimination game as Dallas is down 3-1 in this series and 3-1 in this game. You don't want to take those bad penalties early in this game. I'm sure Dallas's coach is probably going to talk to them about not taking any penalties here during the first intermission. Yeah. Peter DeBoer is the head coach for Dallas. So I'm sure he's talking about not taking any bad penalties for the rest of the game. And yeah, it's just been a wild game up to this point. And Florida advancing to the Cup final. Edmonton looking to do the same. Yeah. Florida Carolina series went to 5 games, where Florida, just was the more dominant team and easily beats Florida in 5 games. Edmonton is looking to do the same with Dallas here. Looking to go 5 games to meet Florida in the Cup Finals here. Yeah. And Zach Hyman for Edmonton is out for surgery. Hopefully he gets better soon. And Matthias Ekholm is back in the lineup for Edmonton. And I haven't seen too much of Hyman so far, but hopefully my boy Matthias Ekholm can get on the score sheet here, either with a goal or an assist. And I got a poll going in the live chat if you haven't voted for who you think will win tonight's game. Be sure to check that out. I plan to end that second intermission here near the start of the third period. And if you're new to the channel here, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 on the year. And looking to get to 100 on the year, or actually 100 by the end of the year. Sorry. And my goal is 100 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm nearly a quarter of the way there. And just looking to get some good channel growth here. And if you have friends that are into hockey and want to know what's going on in the Western Conference Final, feel free to invite them to the stream. And yeah, as we await the second period of play here, Edmonton with a 3-1 series lead, as well as a 3-1 lead in tonight's game. Yeah, Matthias Ekholm back in the lineup, and Zach Hyman is out with a surgery. And yeah, towards the start of this game, Dallas pulls Casey DeSmith. Dallas pulls Jake Ottinger after allowing 3 goals within first 10 minutes of the game, and is replaced by backup goalie Casey DeSmith, who's doing great. Hasn't let in a goal yet. Now I'll quickly go through the goal scorers again. Corey Perry on the power play, assisted by McDavid and Draisaitl. Janmark, assisted by Arvidsson and Wallman. Jeff Skinner, his first playoff goal, assisted by Henrique and Frederick. And then Jason Robertson for the Dallas Stars, assisted by Johnston. A beautiful kind of broken play. And I think Janmark's goal was like complete madness in front of the net before it went in. I think it was Jeff Skinner's goal actually that was complete madness in front of the net before the puck ended up in the back of the net. And Jeff Skinner had the goal where it was complete madness in front of the net before Skinner with his first playoff goal puts Edmonton up 3-0, before Jason Robertson makes it 3-1 up to this point. Yeah, it's been pretty physical game, as there were some big hits along the boards. And it's been a very physical game up to this point. And I feel like Dallas needs to step it up in order to keep their season alive. Yeah. If they don't want Edmonton to go on to meet the Florida Panthers in the Cup Finals. And it's been a good playoffs so far. Yeah, despite my favorite team, Toronto, being knocked out in the second round at the hands of last year's Cup champs, who eventually go on to beat Carolina to get back into the Cup Finals for the third time in a row. Yeah, I was not really a huge fan of that. And Edmonton looks to get to the Stanley Cup Finals for the second straight year. And looks to break the drought of Canadian teams not winning the Stanley Cup of, I'm pretty sure, 32 years. Yeah. Last Stanley Cup that was in Canada was, I believe, in 1993, the 1992-93 season. The Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup back in the 1992-93 season. Canadian team hasn't won the Stanley Cup since. So Edmonton looks to be the first since Montreal did it. So yeah, let's see how much time we got until second period starts. We got under 3 minutes before the puck drops here on the second period. Yeah. Can't wait to either see Edmonton go on to the Cup Finals or Dallas make a comeback. So, yeah, it's been a really physical series up to this point. And I'm sure Dallas and Edmonton will continue to be physical throughout the remainder of this game. And I'm sure both teams will play till the final whistle. And no matter who wins the game today, yeah, at least both teams can, say that they played their hearts out tonight. So, yeah, around 2 minutes left until second period starts. Yeah. Yeah. It's been really good series for both teams. Both teams are fighting to get the pride and the pride of getting that Stanley Cup. Trying to find some last minute stats before second period is officially underway. The goal, the goals from Janmark and Skinner. Goals from Matthias Janmark and Jeff Skinner were only 58 seconds apart. Yeah, that must be a good feeling for Edmonton, being up 3-1, both in the game and the series. Yeah, face-offs are remaining pretty equal. All right, here we go on second period face-off. All right. Here's Dallas after sending it into Edmonton's zone. Edmonton sends it out to center ice, but Dallas quickly picks it up and sends it back in for icing. Yeah, Gogs, that's some pretty good information. Yeah, the Oilers dynasty back in the 1980s with 5 cups. Edmonton wins that face-off, and maybe a controversial hit immediately after the face-off. But here's Edmonton behind Dallas's net. Now back up to the blue line before sending it back behind Dallas's net. Dallas clears it out of the zone. Here's Edmonton coming through center, sending it into Dallas's zone. Nugent Hopkins sends it around the boards. Edmonton sending it back around the boards again. Here's Dallas starting in their own zone. Here's Jason Robertson trying to start a spark for Dallas here, but poked away by Edmonton. Sends it into Dallas's zone. Here's Edmonton behind Dallas's net, taken away by Dallas, who sends it into Edmonton's zone. Skinner out to stop that. Here's Edmonton behind their net. Here's Edmonton trying to get it to center, but here's Dallas takes it away. Penalty for Edmonton. Hooking appears to be the call. Now, like I said during intermission, you don't really want to take these bad penalties. Dallas has their first power play of the game. And who had the penalty? Kulak. 2 minutes for hooking. You don't want to take those penalties. Face-off won by Edmonton. Here's Dallas, who took the puck away. Here's Rantanen with a shot. Blocked. Harley with the puck, passing it over to Duchesne. Here's Harley with a shot. Blocked in front. Edmonton clears the puck. Here's Dallas behind their net. Here's Johnston. Passes it to Duchesne. Here's Harley with the pass back to Duchesne. Here's Harley with a shot blocked in front. Here's Rantanen behind the net. Duchesne taken away by Edmonton and cleared all the way down the, well, not quite all the way down the ice. Here's Harley. Passes to Rantanen, who passes it back to Harley, who sends it down low for. Never mind, they passed it, and Edmonton clears it. Here's Cranlund. Take it into the offensive zone. Here's Robertson fighting for the puck. Here's Heiskanen, sorry. Heiskanen again. Passes to Granlund. Fighting for the puck is Dallas. Puck is sent out of Heiskanen's reach and at center ice before Dallas sends it in, and no call on another trip, and we're back to full strength. Icing waved off here as Dallas behind their net. Gets it to center, and Edmonton. Yeah, icing is the call. Yeah, what a game so far. Dallas couldn't get it done on power play. Interesting stats from ESPN. Since game 2, Edmonton's 5 for 13 on the power play. Wow. Dallas won the face-off, and here's Dallas at center ice, sending it into Edmonton's zone. Here's Edmonton taking it through center. Here's Kane trying to go around the world. Saved maybe by DeSmith. Yeah, I think that was a great save by Casey DeSmith. After Evander Kane tried to go around the world and tuck it in. Yeah, that was a good save by Casey DeSmith. As DeSmith gets it in between his legs to cover it up. Yeah, he's literally lying like flat on the ice to make that save. Here's Edmonton, who won that draw. Shot sent wide. Trip potentially not called, but here's Dallas. Missed pass. Here's Edmonton now. Shot blocked. Here's Dallas. Edmonton keeps it in zone. Edmonton centers. Couldn't put it in the back of the net. Here's Rantanen passing it to his teammate. Hit in the corner. Here's a scrum for the puck in back of the net. Edmonton gets it and sends it into Dallas's zone. Here's Dallas at center ice. Edmonton takes it away, sends it into Dallas's zone. Puck went in front of the net here, but Dallas sends it out of the zone. Here comes Edmonton. Nugent Hopkins sends it into Dallas's zone. Here's Dallas now at center ice. Hand pass is the call near center ice. Yeah, 3-1 Edmonton after a wild first period. Yeah, no goals by Connor McDavid yet. And do want my goal of the game from him. Sorry, I got an itch in my eye. Here's Dallas after a one face-off. Dumps it into Edmonton's zone. Here's Edmonton trying to send it out. Here's Dallas in front. Missed the net here. Here's Draisaitl sending it into Dallas' zone. Scrum in the corner for the puck. Kapanen for Bouchard, who broke his stick. Another shot was stopped by DeSmith. Draisaitl with a shot. May have went wide. Here's Dallas. Sends it into Edmonton's zone here. Edmonton behind their net. Here's Edmonton now. Nugent Hopkins sends it into the far corner. Offsides, I think, is the call here. Yeah, good chances for both teams. None able to capitalize on any of these chances. Yeah, great saves by both goaltenders. And some things off the post. And if you're just coming into the stream and haven't yet, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100 by the end of the year. And so if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And we're at commercial break. I'll quickly run through the goal scorers for Game 5 real quick. Corey Perry got the opening goal for Edmonton on the power play, followed up by Matthias Janmark, his third of the playoffs, and then Jeff Skinner makes it 3-0 for Edmonton. His first of his playoff career and first of the playoffs. And then Jason Robertson, his third of the playoffs. All goals were in the first period. Just under 13 minutes here left to go in the second period of play. Yeah, good chances for both teams. Great goaltending so far for both teams. And face-off one here by Edmonton. Here's McDavid behind the net. Tries to pass it back up to the blue line, but taken away by Dallas, who sends it into Edmonton's zone, and Skinner out to play it. Bouchard sends it back behind his net. Here's Dallas at center ice. Dallas sends it back into Edmonton's zone. Here's Edmonton. McDavid tried to bring it into the zone, but taken away by Dallas. Here's Edmonton again. Sends it into Dallas' zone. Stopped by DeSmith. Here's Dallas, who sends it into Edmonton's zone. Edmonton in the corner. Here's Edmonton with a shot off the back wall here. Here's Dallas now. Sends it into Edmonton's zone. Skinner out to stop that. Edmonton sends it into Dallas' zone. Dallas quickly gains control, and here's Dallas sending it into Edmonton's zone. Here's Edmonton now sending it into Dallas' zone. Dallas now behind their net with the puck. Here's the puck's in neutral zone, claimed by Dallas, who puts it back into Edmonton's zone. And Dallas with a deflection in front, saved by Skinner. Duchesne behind the net. Puts it back up for his defender. Here's a shot. Went wide. Tried to center in front. Found no one there. Battle in the corner. Here's Dallas sending it deep within Edmonton's zone. Here's Dallas up high. Here's Dallas with a great scoring chance. Couldn't capitalize. Oh, that, I feel bad, to be honest. That was a great chance. Here's Edmonton. Gets it out of their zone. Here's Dallas. And pass blocked. Here's a great scoring chance. Saved by Skinner. Dallas with another shot. Stopped by Stuart Skinner. Edmonton tries to clear. Here's Dallas. Oh, what a save by Stuart Skinner. Here's Dallas in the corner. Getting physical behind Edmonton's net. Here's Dallas now with a shot saved by, another great chance for Dallas. Couldn't capitalize. Another penalty here for Edmonton. Edmonton will touch the puck up, and Dallas will get their second power play of the game. Yeah, I wonder what the penalty is. But man, there were some great chances for Dallas there. I feel bad for Dallas, to be honest. They had great chances to get good goals, but Edmonton says no. And this game is still 3-1 as we go to a commercial break. Man, what a great little stretch of play. If you're just coming in, I'd like to welcome you to the stream. And if you have a friend who happens to like hockey and is wondering what's going on in the playoffs, but wants to watch it on YouTube, have them come here. We just want to have fun here and listen to some great hockey as playoffs are winding down. And as I said earlier, Florida has clinched a spot in the Stanley Cup Finals here. And Matthias Ekholm gets a 2-minute minor for interference here as Dallas gets their second power play of the game. And Dallas is 0 for 1 so far on the power play. Edmonton is 1 for 2. Here's Dallas battling for the puck, but Edmonton gets it out of the zone. Here's Harley passing it up for Rantanen, who dumps it into the Edmonton zone. Here's McDavid shorthanded, puts it into Dallas's zone. Here's Harley, pass intercepted by McDavid, who couldn't do anything with it. Here's Harley, 1 minute 15 seconds left in the Dallas power play. Here's Rantanen, couldn't pull the trigger on that shot. Here's Robertson. Rantanen! Oh, what a chance. Stopped by Stuart Skinner. Harley sends it deep for Mikko Rantanen. Here's Harley. Here's Rantanen now. Rantanen, Harley, shot, blocked. Here's Johnson, Hyde scores! Dallas makes it 3-2. With 7 minutes, 33 seconds left in the second period. 3-2 Edmonton. Dang, that was chaos in front. Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, Heinz got the goal for Dallas on the power play, assisted by Johnston and Harley. Here's Dallas off the one face-off. Dallas trying to send it into Edmonton's zone, but that's called icing. Yeah, Edmonton is looking to go to back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals, but Dallas is looking to get to their first Stanley Cup Final since 2020. Face-off won by Edmonton. Pass deflected by Dallas, and Edmonton sends it into Dallas' zone. Here's Edmonton backtracking into their own zone. Here's McDavid. Pass in front. Couldn't get the shot off. Here's Dallas. Looking for another scoring chance. Pass deflected. Here's Dallas. Sends it out of their zone. Offsides is the call. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, please click that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Trying to get to 100 by the end of the year. And feel free to share this stream with your friends. And happy to having more visitors on the stream. Dallas sends it deep. Edmonton, tries to gain the puck back, but here's Dallas behind the net. Trip. That should be a trip. Referee's got no call. Here's Edmonton behind the net. Hit behind the net. Another hit along the sideboards. Here's Dallas looking for a chance in front. Here's Edmonton sending it into Dallas' zone. Hit behind the boards. And Dallas gets it out of the zone. Here's Edmonton. Dallas sends it back into the zone. Dallas with another shot. Oh, Connor McDavid scores! Connor McDavid, my man, with his first goal of the game. There we go. My goal for Connor McDavid. McDavid with 2 points this game. He has a goal and he assisted on the first goal of the game. What a goal on the breakaway. Yeah, beats Casey DeSmith. Yeah, looks like he goes either forehand backhand to beat DeSmith or backhand forehand. Here's Dallas after the one face-off. Sends it deep. Skinner out to play the puck. Here's Edmonton now. Sends it into Dallas' zone. Here's a shot. Saved by DeSmith. Here's Edmonton behind Dallas' net. Here's another shot sent wide. Here's Edmonton sending it back into Dallas' zone. Here's Dallas behind the net. Taken away by Edmonton. Would have been offsides, but Dallas picks it up and sends it into Edmonton's zone. Here's Edmonton now. Coming through center. Edmonton sends it in. Here's shot saved by DeSmith and covered up. Yeah, it's 4-2 Edmonton. Game 5 of the... Yeah, sorry. Of the Western Conference Final. Sorry. Edmonton taking a commanding 4-2 lead in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. Connor McDavid most recently scored for Edmonton on the breakaway. Yeah, that was a great goal for McDavid. Shots on goal are 16-13 in favor of Edmonton. Both teams so far are 1 for 2 on the power play. Edmonton has been the more physical team, laying 28 hits, and Dallas with 19. Edmonton with 11 blocked shots, Dallas with 4. And Connor McDavid for Edmonton scores with 14, 28, and period. Yeah, that was a good play by Connor McDavid. Yeah, I think heads up play by Ekholm, who I think got the assist. Yeah, Ekholm got the assist. He's on the score sheets. In his first game back after battling with injuries. Here's a face-off in Dallas's defensive zone. Face-off won by Edmonton, shot by Nurse, caught by DeSmith. And play will stop again. What a game up to this point. Physical on both sides. And here's scrum along the boards for the puck. Here's a shot. sent wide. Here's another shot. Saved. Here's Dallas now coming through center. Sending it into Edmonton's zone. Edmonton trying to clear. Dallas sends it back down low. Here's Dallas again. Edmonton now coming through center. Dallas, though, sends it back in deep. Skinner out to stop that. Here's Darnell Nurse coming up through center. Passes to his teammate Evander Kane. Here's behind the net. Here's Edmonton keeping it in the zone and a chance in front. Here's Dallas sending it into Edmonton's zone. Here's Dallas. Shot saved by Skinner. Here's Klingberg trying to get a puck away. Here's Edmonton trying to put it into their offensive zone. But Dallas comes and possibly offsides is going to be the call. If you're just joining in here, please click that subscribe button. Trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of this year. Quarter of the way there. Here's Edmonton with the one face-off. Sending it into Dallas's zone. Here's to Smith to stop it, and Dallas comes through center ice. Here's Edmonton now. Behind their net. Here's Nugent Hopkins. Here's Edmonton sending it into their zone, their offensive zone, and that's going to be called icing. Here's an interesting stat for Connor McDavid. In his playoff career, he has had 46 games with 2+ points, according to ESPN. Here's a face-off won by Edmonton. Edmonton sends it out of their zone. Here's Dallas sending it into Edmonton's zone. Here comes McDavid. Coming with speed. Shot. Oh, that nearly squeaked through and nearly made it 5-2 here. Here comes Edmonton from behind their net. Corey Perry through center. Sends it into Dallas' zone. Here's Dallas coming through center. Sending it in deep. Here's fight around the boards for the puck. Here's Dallas behind Edmonton's net and a shot blocked in front. Here's another scrum along the boards for the puck. Here's Dallas. Shot blocked. Here's Dallas with the puck in behind the net and another hit. Here's Dallas. Oh, that should be a penalty. Okay, refs. Here's Dallas back in their zone. Here comes Dallas through center. Sends it into Edmonton's zone. Here comes Edmonton. In center. Here's Dallas. Here's Edmonton now in center. Frederick sends it into Dallas's zone. Here comes Dallas, nearly taken away by Edmonton, but here comes Dallas. And that is the end of the second period. And 2 goals in this period. I'll pull up who got both goals. Yeah. Hintz or Heinz. I sadly don't know how to pronounce that name. Got Dallas's second goal of the game to make it 3-2. And then Connor McDavid on the breakaway made it 4-2 on the breakaway. Yeah, shots are in favor of Edmonton, 18-13. Hits are also in favor of Edmonton, 31-19. Blocked shots are in favor of Edmonton, 14-6. Yeah, this game is pretty much all Edmonton. Yeah, Edmonton's up 4-2. Yeah, and Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. What a game. McDavid has 2 points so far. And what a wild Stanley Cup playoffs it's been. And if you're just joining in here and haven't yet, please subscribe. I'm looking to get to 100 by the end of the year. And make me proud to see my channel get to 100 subscribers by the end of 2025. And we got a poll going here in the live chat. So if you want to vote who you think will win before the end of the second intermission here, feel free to do so. And it's been a really physical period again, with lots of hits, lots of shots, and it's been a really good game up to this point. Yeah, Edmonton looking to go to the Stanley Cup Finals for the second time in a row, and Dallas looking to get to the Cup Finals for the first time since 2020. Yeah. Maybe I'll have to find something else fun to do, like open a pack of hockey cards during intermissions. Maybe that's an idea for next stream. And I'll see if I can pull up some more stats here. Don't plan to bore everyone with some stats. Yeah, 2 penalties in each period. Yeah, both penalties in the first period went to Dallas. Both penalties in the second period went to Edmonton. And Of course, there are some penalties here and there that should have been called, but didn't. Typical referees in the playoffs, letting things slide. And this is Ekholm's first game back since April 11th. And he has a point in this game. And Skinner is doing great for Edmonton. And the Smith's trying in net for Dallas. Has 1 goal against. And I plan on covering the Stanley Cup Finals, at least some of the games there. Yeah, between Florida and the winner of this series between Dallas and Edmonton. We'll have to see which games I'm available for. And got 20 more minutes of hockey to play. Can't wait to see what is waiting for us in the third period here. Yeah. It'll be fun to see what happens. Yeah, Gogs, I agree on the hockey cards. That might be fun. We'll see who I can pull from the packs. Yeah, we'll have to see what I can do. And
this is why he's the greatest player in the world. You got to play defense to win championships, and that's a little bit about what David. We know what his name is. We call him Jesus for a reason.
I'll see what I can do for Stanley Cup Finals, opening up hockey cards during intermissions. See who I can open up. Yeah, see if I can get any good cards. And feel free to invite whoever you want to the stream. We're all about having fun and watching some hockey together. So feel free to bring in some friends and yeah, okay, and then sorry, my brain's just blank and I just had a big day of school today. Yeah. And it's technically my Friday, kind of, if you will, because, yeah, got out of school. Yeah, school's getting tough, but we won't go on a deep dive into that. Um,
I was thinking of gifting one to each of you. I got AT&T's bundle of 3, iPhone 16 Pro with Apple
and
Intelligence.
it'd be fun to see a rematch of last year between Dallas and, or sorry, not Dallas, Edmonton and Florida again. That'll be a fun matchup. 8 minutes and 10 seconds until third period puck drop. I'll end this poll that I got going on the live chat with probably around 2 minutes left to go before puck drop. And if you're just coming in, please click that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. And nearly quarter of the way there. And I'll go through another quick rundown of the second period goal scorers for tonight's game. In the second period, Heinz, I'm sorry, I'm still struggling with this name. Made it 2-3 for Edmonton. Or sorry, yeah, this is Dallas's goal after Edmonton went up 3-1 in the first. Hintz made it 3-2, and then Connor McDavid on the breakaway made it 4-2 for Edmonton. In Game 5 of the Western Conference Final. Elimination game for Dallas. Can't really have any more slip-ups if you're Dallas. Yeah, gotta be physical and which this game has been. Yeah, but Dallas has got to get more shots and more scoring opportunities, which they have, but haven't been able to capitalize on them. Edmonton leads in shots, 18-13. They also lead in hits, 34-24. Edmonton also leads in blocked shots, 15-7. And 4 total penalties in this game, 2 against Dallas in the first period, and then 2 for Edmonton in the second period. Maybe in this third period it'll be 1 penalty for each team. That'd be interesting to see. And I'm thinking about bringing some hockey cards on next stream and opening up a pack, see who I can get. Sounds pretty fun. 4.5 minutes until the puck drop. 2.5 minutes until I close the poll. Speaking of, if you haven't put your vote in on who you think will win Game 5. You'll find the poll in the live chat. So if you haven't voted yet and you want to vote, go to the live chat and cast your vote before I end the poll. Sorry. And what a great game here for both teams. But Edmonton has looked like the better team. And it's been a really good game for both teams. But yeah, I just said that. I'm sorry. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, trying to find some more news from around the league, but can't really find any. And the winner of this series will go on to meet Florida in the Stanley Cup Finals for the second year in a row. Or wait, actually, not actually for the second year in a row. That's if Edmonton wins. I'm sorry. And now that it's 2 minutes until puck drop in the third period, I will end this poll. And unanimously, Edmonton will win according to the chat. Yeah, a total of 6 votes were cast. All of them voted for Edmonton. Let's go Oilers. And wearing my Gretzky Oilers jersey. And we're coming back to the ice here. Nearing the third period face-off. And I've got a good feeling Edmonton will close it out in the third period. And I mean, Edmonton's got the skill to get back to the Cup Finals. So does Dallas, who acquired Mikko Rantanen near the hockey trade deadline. Here's the opening faceoff for the third period, and Dallas wins it. Dallas sending it in and sent towards Skinner as he quickly covers that up for a stoppage 10 seconds in. And I believe what Dallas needs to do is get more possession of the puck, which could lead to more shots and possibly Dallas getting back into this game. Here's Edmonton in Dallas's zone, fighting the corner for the puck. Here's Dallas looking to get the puck back into their neutral zone. Here's Dallas. Here's a shot. Scores. Scores. Dallas. Jeez. Believe it was Jason Robertson with his second of the game. And like I said, Dallas got possession, went down the ice, and scored off a beautiful shot by Jason Robertson. Edmonton still has that one goal cushion. Yes. Kinner was set, but Robertson just put it in between the legs. Here's Edmonton now in Dallas' zone. Here's Dallas now through center. Just barely not offside, but here comes the shot on goal, saved by Skinner. Wow. Yeah, maybe a little bit of miscalculation on that goal by Jason Robertson by Edmonton. They were going for a change. And then, Dallas just pounced on the opportunity and made this game 4-3. Face off in Edmonton's zone, won by Dallas. Here's Dallas sending it behind Edmonton's net. Here comes Edmonton trying to get the puck and score, but here comes Dallas out of their, getting out of their zone. Here comes Dallas in the corner. Here's a chance in front. No one home. Here's the puck in the corner again. Here's a chance in front. No stick there. And here comes Edmonton. Shot. I think that was blocked in front by Dallas. Here comes Dallas with the puck. Flipping it into center ice. And Edmonton gathers the puck up and sends it into Dallas' zone. And here's Edmonton. Shot blocked. Here's Dallas now coming through center ice. Here's Dallas behind Edmonton's net. Back up to the blue line. Shot blocked. Edmonton tries to chip it out, but Dallas takes it right back. Here's Dallas with a shot. Blocked again by Edmonton. Edmonton's kind of like a puck magnet tonight. Here's Edmonton trying to send it into Dallas' zone. Here, which is taken back by Edmonton. Sends it back into neutral ice, but Dallas sends it back into Edmonton's zone. Edmonton now behind their net. Coming through center. Here's Edmonton behind the net, and they score! 5-3 Edmonton. I feel bad for Dallas. Evander Kane ends up getting the goal for Edmonton. Oh, off a skate of a Dallas Star. That'll end up being Evander Kane's goal. Oh, I feel bad. That just barely went over the arm of Casey DeSmith. Unfortunate. Here's Edmonton trying to send it into Dallas' zone. Here's Dallas now sending it into Edmonton's zone. Behind the net now Here's Dallas sending it back up high. Shot attempt blocked. Another shot attempt blocked again. And craziness in front, but Edmonton ends up getting it back out to center ice, and here comes Dallas sending it into Edmonton zone. Skinner tried to play that, but here comes Dallas on what looked like a good chance. Here's Dallas now. Shot blocked in front. Edmonton getting it out the center ice and chipping it into Dallas's zone. Here's Kane in the corner. Sending it back around the board is Edmonton. Keeping it in. Sending it back around the boards is Edmonton. Here's Dallas now behind their own net. Hit by Edmonton. Here's Dallas. And puck must have gone into the bench. Yeah, 5-3 Edmonton. Yeah, it's 5-3 Edmonton. I'm trying to get some more stats. Edmonton has 20 shots on goal. Dallas has 17. Here's a face-off won by Edmonton. Shot blocked. Here's Edmonton sending it behind the net. Here's Edmonton sending it behind the net again. Dallas tries to clear it, but Edmonton puts it right behind the net again. Here's Edmonton behind the net. Shot blocked. Here's Dallas sending it into, and trying to send it into Edmonton's end. Here's Dallas. Sends it wide of the net. Here's Edmonton behind their net. Trying to clear the zone now is Edmonton. Here comes Dallas. Sending it into the far corner. Here's Edmonton behind the net. Taking it through center ice. Here's Edmonton trying to send it around the boards, but here's Dallas now. Here's Dallas with a shot, saved by Stuart Skinner. Yeah, that latest goal by Edmonton was kind of like a double whammy in its own right. Yeah, that was weird how that puck went in. Yeah, off the skate of the defender and then either bouncing off that arm of Casey DeSmit. Yeah, I think glove side it was. And then, yeah, either off DeSmit's arm or just over. Yeah, that was a weird goal, but it counts. No distinct kicking motion. Yeah, it's been a wild game up to this point. 20 shots for Edmonton, 18 for Dallas. Here are goal scorers so far in the third period. Jason Robertson for Dallas, making the game 4-3. 38 seconds into the third period. And Evander Kane makes it 5-3 for Edmonton. Nearly 3.5 minutes in to this final period of play. Yeah, it's been really physical as well. It's in the game. 38 for Edmonton, 32 for Dallas. And we're getting another face-off, one by Dallas. Sending it down low. Here, Edmonton trying to get it back. And fight in the corner for the puck. Here's Edmonton trying to send it out to center ice, and they're successful. Here's Dallas sending it into the zone. Dallas keeping it in the zone. Here's Edmonton now coming through center, sending it into Dallas's zone towards DeSmith. He guides that away from the net. Here's Dallas now coming through center ice. Here's Edmonton sending it down the ice towards DeSmith, but Dallas quickly recovers the puck and quickly sends it up ice. Here's Dallas coming through center. Taken away by Edmonton. Here's Edmonton now. Sending it into Dallas's zone. Here's Dallas now. Sending it through center. Picked up by Edmonton. Sending it into the far corner in Dallas's zone. Dallas now getting it to center ice. Edmonton sends it back in. DeSmith slows the puck down as it's rimmed around the boards. Edmonton rims it around again. There's the puck. There's Edmonton now. Here's Dallas. Taken away by Edmonton. Sends it deeper into the zone. Here's Dallas trying to take it back into Edmonton's zone. Oiler was knocked down. Here's Dallas. Rantanen sends it in. Here's McDavid sending it around the boards in Edmonton zone. Here's Dallas. Shot attempt blocked away by Bouchard, I believe. Here's Dallas with a chance behind net. Couldn't quite get the shot away here. Here's Corey Perry trying to clear the puck. And he is successful. Icing is the call, as Perry sends it all the way down the ice. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, it doesn't. I feel like Corey Perry has a goal in this game. Because he does. He had the first goal of the game, assisted by Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Face-off won here by Edmonton. Sends it out to center ice, but Dallas quickly picks the puck back up. Coming back into the offensive zone is Dallas. Here's Dallas now back in the neutral zone. Sending it deep within Edmonton's zone. Battle along the boards for the puck. Here's Bouchard sending it to center, but here's Dallas now. Taken away by Edmonton and put out in center ice, and here's a chance. Saved by DeSmith. 10 minutes, 5 seconds left to go in this third period. 5-3 Edmonton, who has the 3-1 series lead. An elimination game for Dallas. Face-off one here by Dallas as they send it out to center ice. Edmonton trying to send it back into Dallas' zone, but Dallas sends it into Edmonton's zone, and Skinner out to play the puck. A little risky move with Star behind the net. Here's Dallas sending it back out into the center ice. Here's Dallas sending it into Edmonton's zone. Edmonton chipping it out to center ice and into Dallas' zone. Dallas now with the puck. 9 minutes, 15 seconds to go in the third period. Dallas sends it into Edmonton's zone. Dallas behind the net, tries to center it. Pass blocked. Here's Dallas again. Pass blocked again by Edmonton. Here comes Edmonton through center ice. Sends it into Dallas's offense or Dallas's defensive end. Sorry. Here's Edmonton. Cross ice pass. Fanned on the shot. Here's Dallas now. Coming through center ice. Rantanen passes to his teammate and comes into the offensive zone. And a chance in front. Scramble in front, but puck is poked away out of harm's way. Puck is in the neutral zone now, and Dallas puts it back in. Edmonton now, behind their net, comes out, comes to center ice, and Corey Perry, Bouchard, and chance in front. Doesn't get a clear shot off, and Dallas sends it into Edmonton's zone. Skinner plays the puck. Corey Perry now coming into the offensive zone, and McDavid didn't get the shot off. Dallas now getting it out into neutral ice. Here's Dallas now in the offensive end, sending it around the boards. Here's Dallas now on the blue line, shot deflected wide. Here's Edmonton now, sending it into Dallas's end. Here's Edmonton now, sending it into the opposite corner. Here's Nugent Hopkins, or 23. May have been Nugent Hopkins. Fighting the corner for the puck. Dallas comes away with it behind their net. Excuse me. Here's Dallas now in Edmonton's zone. Fighting for the puck. Here's Dallas now with a shot. Saved by Stuart Skinner. That shot was 85 miles an hour. Yeah, great chances for both teams. Neither team able to capitalize, though. Edmonton has 21 shots on goal. Dallas has 18 as we go into a commercial break. Edmonton leads 5-3 over the Dallas Stars. Seems like Edmonton is going to close out the series, but I don't want to jinx it, though. Because, Dallas could come back in this game and force a game 6. Yeah, hits for Edmonton, 41. 37 hits for Dallas. Yeah, this has been a really physical game. Nearly 80 hits for both teams combined, which is wild. Yeah, no penalties so far for either team in the third period. Yeah, it's kind of been a split game in terms of penalties taken. The first two penalties of the game were taken by Dallas in the first period. In the second period, there were two penalties taken by Edmonton. None in the third yet. Yeah, I agree with that. A lot of hits. Yeah, this entire series has been physical with a lot of hits. Probably well over, maybe around 300, maybe more in the series. But that's just a wild guess. Could be more, could be less. Yeah, goal scorers in the third period. Jason Robertson made it. Jason Robertson for Dallas made it 4-3. Okay, here's Dallas fanned on the shot. Here comes Edmonton. 3-on-1, 3-on-2. Edmonton in the corner now. Taken away by Dallas. Here's Edmonton. Back on the blue line. Sends it back down deep into the offensive zone. Here's Dallas now. Dallas coming through neutral zone. Taken away by Edmonton. An Oiler tripped up. Here's Dallas in the neutral zone here. Here's Dallas sending it into Edmonton zone. Back out to center ice, but Dallas sends it back in. Here's Dallas with a shot. Blocked by Edmonton. Here's Dallas again. Another shot blocked. Dallas takes it out to center ice. Sent deep into Edmonton's zone. Here's Dallas behind the net. Sending it behind Edmonton's net. Here's Dallas behind the net. Couldn't get anywhere with the puck, and the puck comes back out to center ice before Dallas sends it in. Here's Edmonton trying to send it out, but Dallas gets it back. Here's Edmonton now with the puck in their defensive zone. 4 minutes, 45 seconds left in the game here. Here's Dallas now, sending it in deep. Fighting for the puck in the corner. Edmonton sends it out of their zone. Dallas, though, regains control of the puck. Tries to send it back into Edmonton's zone. Edmonton sends it back out, though. Here's Dallas in their zone. Here's Dallas working through center. Edmonton now gains control of the puck. Comes through center, dumps it in. Hit along the boards, and Dallas comes away with the puck, coming through center and dumping it into the Edmonton zone. Here's a shot, blocked in front, another shot. Dallas fans on it. Edmonton gets the puck out of the zone. 3.5 minutes left to go in the game. Edmonton sends it into the zone. Dallas now coming behind their net and getting it through center. Icing called as sent it past red line, the blue line, and the goal line. What a game. We'll see if I have a voice after tonight. Might not, but we'll have to see. Here's Edmonton with a face-off win, sending it back into the zone. Here's Dallas behind their net. Here's Dallas. Here's Edmonton with a shot, saved by DeSmith. Here's Edmonton now, sending it back into their offensive zone. Here's Dallas now, sending it into Edmonton's zone. Dallas now has an empty net. 6-on-5. Here's Skinner playing the puck, and Edmonton sends it down the ice. Doesn't quite get to the net. Icing was waved off. Here's Dallas coming through center. Edmonton. 2 minutes to go left in the game. Fight for the puck. Puck went up into the netting. And I guess Ottinger was pulled after Edmonton's first 2 goals of the game. He was supposed to be the starting goalie, but he quickly got pulled after 2 quick Edmonton goals. Here's Edmonton. Actually, that was kind of hard to tell who won the face-off there, but Edmonton comes away with the puck. Here's Dallas sending in the puck into the offensive zone. Edmonton tries to get the puck down the ice, and icing is called. And Western Conference trophies getting prepared to be presented. Gonna have to redo the face-off here. Here comes the face-off. Come on, ref, just drop the puck, please. Here's Edmonton now behind their net. Fight for the puck, and Edmonton now looking for the empty net. Here's Edmonton now. Cross check. Come on, refs. Edmonton. Blocked shot right in front of the empty net. Here comes Dallas. Less than a minute. Edmonton is sending a puck down the ice. Can't get it to go into the empty net. Here's Dallas coming through center. 45 seconds left to go. Here's Dallas in the corner. Dallas looking for someone in front. Edmonton behind the net. 30 seconds left to go. Here's Edmonton flipping it out to center. Dallas regains control of the puck. Dallas sends it. And it goes up into the netting. Edmonton's had some good chances to close this game out. And what a game this has been. 15 seconds left to go. Here's empty net goal. That'll close the game out. The matchup has been set. Edmonton Oilers versus Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Final for the second year in a row. 10.8 seconds left to go in the game. Who scored that empty net goal? Kapanen got the goal. And Edmonton advances to the Cup Final. You gotta applaud Dallas's effort this game. Yeah, they really tried to get something going. Yeah, Dallas put up a great fight, but Edmonton gets the job done with another 6-goal game. Yeah, if you remember back to my last stream, Edmonton actually had another 6-goal game there. And McDavid looking to lead the handshake line. This was a very well fought series between both teams. Gotta give credit where it's due. Ottinger didn't have the best series, but he still tried to put up a fight, as well as the rest of the Dallas team. They had a great season. And thanks, M. Griffey 3. Yeah, it was a well-fought series all the way through. Yeah, Jason Robertson with 2 goals in tonight's game. Tried to spark a comeback, but sadly couldn't get the job done. Yeah, Rantanen did a good job. Yeah, and for Edmonton, they look to get revenge on Florida Panthers for last year. Yeah, obviously, McDavid getting the goals when I kind of predicted them. If you remember back to last stream, I wanted McDavid to get a goal. He ended up getting 2. And if you remember from earlier in the stream, I wanted McDavid to get maybe a goal and an assist, if I remember correctly. And he ended up getting a goal and an assist. Great job, McDavid. And gonna go for the trophy presentation here. Yeah, McDavid has 9 goals, 17 assists. Still leads all players in points. Yeah, it's been fun watching these two teams. Yeah, it's been really fun watching this game. And can't wait for the Stanley Cup Final rematch between Florida and Edmonton. Yeah, that'll be a fun. And another great game for the Zebras. Love that comment. Probably my favorite live chat of the stream, to be honest. Yeah, that's a good comment about uh, uh, those referees. Yeah, I do get excited about some plays, and yeah, that's why hockey is probably one of my favorite sports. Not only that it's fast paced, but get to yell at Stripes for making occasional wrong calls. Can't get too mad at them though. They have to let something slide. Here's the trophy presentation. Here comes McDavid looking to. Oh, and Edmonton's touching the trophy. We'll see if this comes back to bite them. Here comes the rest of the team. Gog's next game is gonna be in Stanley Cup Finals between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Yeah, I'll see if I can do game one. Yeah, I'll actually see if I can do all the games for yeah, Stanley Cup Finals. Yeah, 1 through 7 if necessary. And we'll have to see if Edmonton touching the trophy here comes back to bite them. I mean, back when Tampa Bay was, had their dynasty back in 2020, 2021, 2022, they had, they touched the trophy before going into the cup. And then, they won 2 out of those 3 Stanley Cup Finals. And obviously in 2022, they ended up losing to the Colorado Avalanche after touching that trophy for the 3rd time. But we'll have to see who wins the Stanley Cup between Edmonton and the Florida Panthers. Yeah, it's been good stream. I'll see everyone in game 1 of Stanley Cup Final, whatever day that ends up falling on. All right. See you all next stream.